Some modifications and activities discussed in this podcast should not be attempted or recreated. Make sure to keep the mods legal and obey the laws of the road and keep routine ages. Well, what's the crack, everyone? Welcome to the Limited Slip Differences podcast, the podcast where we talk shite about a lot of things, including tractors, cars, and a few other things here and there.
Just mainly shite, to be honest.
So we're now on episode 14.
Again, decided the content of the episode pretty much as we were setting up the recording. Yeah, that's how we roll.
It's a great job whenever you message Michael and say, what are we talking about tonight? And he replies with, I don't know.
You're equally as much a part of this team as I am.
No, I'm not saying I'm not, but yeah. Didn't have a clue what we were talking about until there now. So,
but before we get into that,
yes, we have a few things have happened, I suppose, since the last podcast.
Yeah, well, right enough. So, because we're recording this quite late on, before it's probably been a solid 2, maybe further than 2 weeks since we last recorded. So, last time we recorded was just before LZ Fest, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. You were getting extremely busy getting your car ready.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't really do anything.
Just showed up.
I literally just showed up. Funny, the only thing I could have done was, well, I suppose there's lots of things you could do, but the only thing I had lined up was paint the brakes in my car.
Yeah,
and I was too lazy a fucker to even do that. So, I didn't even bother my whole doing that. But anyway, so we had LZ World Tour, cracking weekend.
It was absolutely unbelievable. So will we start from the start?
It was definitely a weekend of loads of highs with very little lows.
Some lows, low cars.
Congratulations, Michael got a pun.
Oh, jinx.
Him slapping the table in the last podcast. It worked.
Aye, well, ish.
For I have to say,
this is so typical of what happens. So, Dubshed, for instance, getting the car out and back and all was a success. And I mean, literally with Dubshed, I was down to the wire, same as LZ Fest, down to the wire. First drive in the car with the new turbo was the day beforehand. Was that Friday? When
it was, yes,
decided
indeed.
to go to, well, I kidnapped you.
No, what happened was, so I was having a wee snooze-a-rooney in the Civic.
Yes.
Recaro trendlines, which are the Premier Edition seat, are not comfy to sleep on.
That's a lie. Mine are.
But yours have been retrimmed and are essentially like a brand new seat.
But I didn't get the bolsters or anything redone.
Well, your bolsters are a lot better than mine. But then again, my car has been sat in for 100k.
Oh yeah, mine came out of an Evo 7 6 or 7 years ago.
They don't know what it's like to be sat on anymore.
No, they don't. They lay neglected for years. I don't want to say neglected. They were wrapped up and clean, but, Anyway.
True.
Moving on.
But yes, so you were like, sure, we'll go for a wee run.
Yeah, we'll get fuel.
Just got... Lloyd was good enough. He sent you a base map for your car just to get everything running good and all that.
So Krath literally pulled out all the stops and trying to help me out, and it didn't help. Then I was away in Cork during the time of trying to get everything pulled together. Yourself, Jack, Ali, all very helpful, and then Lloyd. Yeah, that was the final. Originally, we were going to try and see if we could get the car properly mapped. Lloyd, sure, he was doing all the work for the drift game cars. So he literally had no time. Ali had, if you're ever seeing him on Snapchat, he's just fucking flat out all the time. So, and I didn't even have the time to get the car up to them because I was away with work. So, and then that was decided, right, we'll base map it, just pull the fuel back, and oh my god, what a difference that turbo makes.
Oh, it's completely night and day.
It's changed the sound of the car.
Completely, yeah. Before, she didn't sound bad. It was just very raspy.
Very raspy. It felt like it was filling like an empty empty pipe or something. It never sounded good till you were like at like 3,500, 4,000 RPM. Like
It had the same sort of effect as if you hear a standard AS200 with a straight pipe.
Yeah, well, really,
And then you hear a turbo AS200. Like, it takes a lot of the
raspiness out of it. Yeah. So mine's, I think it was just such a big turbo that it just, when you were off boost or like on idle, like no pull on the engine, no load, it wasn't really working that hard, so it sounded empty.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the only thing about it is it's really whistly. But that's how they all are. So whenever I first like started it, I was like, this turbo like whistles all the time. Oh my god, have I like killed my like brand new turbo? And then Creth like sent me like videos of it, like other like cars with that same turbo on the dyno.
Naturally, with the grief your cars give you.
Yeah, I always just assume worst.
So
I was like, right, well, I know it's getting oil pressure, and I know it's going to be working, and I know everything should be tight. So, but she was really whistly, and I was like, oh my god, like this isn't good. And then Creth was like, nah, sent me like a few videos on YouTube of like all our cars on the dyno, and they all sounded the same, and I was like, right, well, that's good to know.
It's just the turbo.
Yeah.
Than the nature of it. But yes, so well, kidnap me, I don't know what you would call it, but so you said sure we'll go out a run here.
Mm-hmm.
And the run went from the
going to
Clary
McCann's.
Square.
Yeah.
Sorry, the McCann's, and then that went to Greenlock.
Yeah.
And then that ended up in Niclockram.
Yeah.
And then that ended up in Mahara.
Yeah.
And then that ended up in Tobermore.
Yep.
And then sure we're this far. We'll go on to Dripperstown.
So by chance, I was just like, I'll call out to Ryan McLean. So Ryan McLean at Proline Tires would do all my like tire work and alignment for the cars and stuff, because he did me a massive solid like 4 years ago, and I feel like I'm still forever in his debt. And so called out, and he was like, look, I have someone booked in. If they don't show up, I'll do your car. And luck was on my side that day. They didn't show up, and I was like, oh my god, happy days. So didn't take long to get it aligned. Ryan has like a sunken in floor, and he's got like a really good setup, like proper laser alignment, like, so it steered a million times better after that.
Well, your steering wheel, if you can imagine the very top of the steering wheel, was at nearly 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it was, the resolution even with the steering wheel and all was just like, even trying to set it up right, it's just a nightmare. So now the steering wheel's actually pointing the way it should be when you're driving, which is a massive plus.
So big ups to Ryan for taking you in and sorting you out. He did an unreal job. So we went from Dripperstown, then drove back here. Well, we got fuel along the way.
Mm-hmm.
A young fella in the car beside you in Mahara when you were getting fuel was like, the fuck was that? But no, it was good out of crack then.
Early start on the Saturday.
We got your LSD banner onto the car eventually.
Right, yeah. Got that done, got the new seats in, well, old seats back in, I guess.
You weren't ropey doing the seats?
No, not half. Well, I thought it was better that if there's a couple of welding balls ending up in the material, it was better than having seats that look nicely welded but didn't actually hold. So I was like, do you know what, there's no point in me being that careful.
Lay that long.
Exactly. So
you
can get them retrimmed. It's easier to retrim a seat than it is to, peel yourself off.
Some people might say, well, it's easier to retrim the seat than get the seat back from being burnt.
Aye, yeah, but at the same time,
Damp Cloth did a great job.
If anything was to happen, like say for example, and the seat is securely welded to the rail, I think I'd rather be in that position than a couple of holes in the bolster. So look, it's not the end of the world. Early start then.
Oh, one thing I have to say though is big up to Mr. Adam McCartney for he did a great job washing your car.
Yeah, he washed mine.
That was
Friday, yeah.
And then he did an unreal job on my car.
Yeah, that's right. He did, to be fair.
So big ups to Adam for. To be honest with you, I'm just a lazy fucker and couldn't be arsed cleaning.
I'm lazy too.
He might as well do it whenever.
That's why my car's not a show winner. I'm too lazy with it. It's got like nearly there, but I just can't be bothered doing the final bits. It's just I just can't be arsed. Like,
spend thousands in a car, and you're just like,
aye. But the thing is, like,
cleaning
yeah.
it.
But the thing is, like, for instance, like my torque fittings and all in my car, like I have all the braided lines and everything looks nice. But the problem is, I'm constantly fixing shit.
Like when I was helping out Jack, he was painting every bolt black and all, and I was like, nobody's ever going to see that.
Aye, but
and he was like, well, if that went this far, I might as well keep doing it.
See, that's the difference.
I was still like,
I'm literally finding bolts lying on the ground
how
and going,
could you be fucked?
I'm finding bolts in the ground going, neat. Just putting them under the car, like.
It's like me. I bought literally a tin of red paint from Motorsports and Spares a year ago. I bought a paintbrush a year ago. Have I painted my brakes yet? No.
I have hired Rotovator orange there if you want to paint them orange.
Oh, like I still have the tin of red, just haven't bored the hole.
Well.
Like I even bought. I first went to Halfords and bought a tin of Milano red spray paint to spray them.
Oh, so
and
keeping it
again,
OEM.
so I literally
done
couldn't be
nothing.
fucking arsed.
Anyway,
Here, look, the brakes work, and that's the main thing.
yeah, that's definitely the main thing. I need to get new pads for my car, by the way.
But yes, so I left here, milked the cows, and then by the time I had everything else done, packed, all that cracks, got me cold box and all ready and stuff, that I could literally get up in the morning at 3:30.
Yeah, I got up at 3:45. And when you arrived, I was pulling the car out of the shed and had to lift the shed. Had to jack the car up and pull the back wheels around to like reverse it out of the shed, because my lift's not set up the wrong way around, but kind of is set up the wrong way around. So it's easier to reverse into my shed and drive forward onto the lift. But by rights, I should be like reversing onto my lift, because the lift is directional.
Oh,
But unless you're doing an engine swap, it's not really the end of the world. Like, it's supposed to be the way they aren't, like, one set of legs is shorter than the other to counteract like the weight and all that. But I'm digressing. So anyway, that was okay. The drive down was very wet.
Oh, the weather
Shite.
is a fucking disaster.
Shite. The weather on the way down was so bad.
It is
so bad.
It was bad until the M50.
Yeah, it started to perk up around about Dublin.
Yeah.
Like the last 20 minutes to Naas.
To be fair, though, right, so, toll bridge. I was like...
Oh, I remember this, yes. I remember this.
So at the toll bridge, I was like, okay, I'll not do any fucking... I'll fuck this, carry on. So, pulled first, which naturally you would. Foot just happened to go to the floor. And then I was like, oh, sure, I might as well just put it in the second gear now a wee bit prematurely. And then she still was spinning the wheels. I was like, I just can't... I don't know what's going on here. And then I was like, oh, geez, I might as well go for third gear to see if she catch grip. Oh, no, she didn't catch grip then.
I remember sitting in the toll, and because I was a couple of cars behind you, and all I heard was bam, 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 and I was like, holy shit, that's all bread. And then next thing, bam, 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 and I was like, holy fuck, that thing's cogging third. And I was just like, right, okay, fair play. And so I was like literally down the walkie-talkie. I was like, Jesus, Connor, that was ill bread if I ever heard it. But that's what toll roads are for. If I had more balls, I'd be doing the same.
Oh, like, get into third gear then. I was like, oh, sure, that's enough for this carry on. Put her into fourth then. And when I was putting her into fourth, the almighty bang came out of her.
Aye.
Like, I had the window down slightly, and the whole toll bridge was just filled with a bang, and then all I heard was, holy fuck, McGowan. That's all bread.
Man, I actually forgot to say, I met up with listener Reese in Newry.
Oh, fuck,
well. Yeah,
yes.
I was actually just thinking, I was like, well, probably, and I was literally, it came into my head, and I was like, we could literally have done this whole podcast without talking about Reese, just because we're focusing on that many other different things, yeah. So podcaster, or podcast listener, Reese, came over from Scotland.
Yes.
And
a 5-hour drive to the boat in Scotland.
Yeah, fuck that, like. But so he came over.
Fair play to him.
Yeah, he came over and then chilled with us for the weekend. Like, it was good crack. Yeah,
we both sound dead. It's just been a while. Like,
yeah.
I don't think the not the hangover, but I don't think we've caught up with sleep or anything since.
It's been that much going on. Like,
it's just madness.
Aye. Anyway,
like that weekend, well, it was 3 hours sleep the first night. We had a good sleep and from the Saturday night at 12 o'clock.
yeah,
I was dead.
Aye.
But anyway, sorry, we're digressing as well. So Toll Bridge was fun. Got down. Didn't bother washing the cars because just we were delayed with a few
a couple of wee niggles, like, so we just ended up wanting to get on down the road into the show. We probably could have went, but I was just like, I just want to get to the show at this point. So we did, and then it must have took me about 4 hours to actually clean my car at the show.
Right. Michael cleaned his car at a show. Now, Michael would be very sociable, hence why he does a podcast.
Who'd have guessed?
I don't know whether you talk about main character syndrome or just he likes to talk to people.
It's not even that. I can't clean while I'm talking to someone because I think it's really rude.
It actually got to a stage where we were commentating on your cleaning.
Apparently so. Tegan thought I'd cleaned the same door 4 times or something. Like
it was literally spray, 30-second delay.
Yeah, and spray again. Like
wipe.
But it's just because anybody that come up and spoke to me, I didn't want to be like.
If you were a paid window cleaner, you'd be taking fucking all day.
But I just felt like I feel like if I'm standing there like and someone's trying to talk to me and ask questions, like I'd feel like a total asshole if I was to stand just clean the car and not try and talk to them. But then see, by the time I'd like the car done, like cleaning and all that, I was like, I'm just done. My head's pounding.
From 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock, it took him to detail
the car. But like, don't get me wrong, and this maybe makes me sound like a dick. It's not like I have a problem with talking to people. I definitely don't. It's just like literally, I feel bad, or I feel bad not like. I feel bad like if I'm cleaning my car and I'm not giving eye contact. I feel like it's really, really rude. So, look, is it a nice position to be in where people come up and speak to you because they know you from the podcast? Absolutely. It's really humbling, and it's something that I am thankful for, and you as well.
Oh, fuck, I definitely.
Pardon me. It's like, you know, people coming up. So, like, there was Connor with the Red Bora came up, first ever person to buy merch. Not that we've sold it. I actually have still the money he gave me. I was going to actually get it framed and be like the first money we ever made off the podcast. Now, we probably should push merch more, but we're working on a few designs and stuff in the background. And we'll probably do a proper release whenever all that's
through. At the end of the
day,
the thing we've done at the moment is quite Jap inspired.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, at the end of the day, if you're driving a 360 turbo or you're driving a Bora or a tractor or anything agricultural looking at all, you'd rather you'd rather something that was
a bit more tailored to that style.
You know, you're not going to put a HKS sticker in a Golf. Like.
No. So watch this space for that. But yeah. So eventually got everything cleaned. And then the rain came on and didn't really stop. But like, to be honest, see the quality of cars I thought in like at the show this year was unbelievable. Like,
it was.
There's so many cars that I looked at and I was like, I want to own that. I want to own that. I love that. Like, just like, honestly, like, don't get me wrong, Dubshed gets class cars. I would have said the standard there at LZ Fest was probably equally as good as Dubshed.
So one thing I just want to put in, I got a bit of karma, so I did. So we arrived at the show.
Yes.
And we parked up
Michael's
in
car
a preliminary,
working perfectly, my dad.
In a preliminary capacity, and mine wouldn't turn over. And as Becca said, oh no.
What hope is there for the rest of us if the reliable car stops working?
Not Old Faithful.
I know, it was
then Michael, like he did at Donegal Rally, he just put his head under the bonnet and just started. Literally. You opened the bonnet.
And you were like, what'd you do? And I was like, literally nothing.
That actually happened outside Father Ted's house. So when I done the holidays in 2021.
Yes.
Do not take a lowered car down Father Ted's road.
No, it's terrible. It's a really bad road.
Shite.
It's a really bad road.
Second gear all the way through it anyway, because the exhaust tank's so low in the car.
Same as mine now.
But yeah, it wouldn't turn over nor fuck all.
Just literally, just wouldn't go, and we were like, "Oh,
I was
what is happening here?" Like,
so he opened the bonnet and just went. I was like, and I was like, "Don't turn it off." So yeah, no, we got parked up then properly and. Yeah, continue on about the Friday. No, it was Saturday.
Saturday. Literally just watched the drifting. So they did like the qualifying, which we missed because I was cleaning my car. Then they did...
For the first 5 hours, we didn't move any further than 5 metre square around the cars.
I know. I know it's bad. Like, but so we went and watched then the battles. So they did like the top 13, and then so there's about 29 cars, and they did the top 13, and then
Like
one, 2, and 3.
A last gasp, like 13 to 16. So last 3 spots were like the total.
I thought that was a really good idea. So like if you qualify, you get through instantly, and then they make an event out of making an event. So the day after was the top 16, but they had like some fun battles, and they had fantasy battles in the morning, which we missed. But in my opinion, I think that the top 16 battles are always better.
All I can say is it Archie Hammer and
the wee Datsun?
Oh my god! Like they
That
were
thing's
saying
class.
it's the fact that it was like we were meant to just do a demo in the car, and then he said, "Look, is there any chance I can get competing?" And somebody, because Monkey London missed the boat, he got the chance to compete.
That's right,
and he won it.
He won that competition, and then he still done well the day after as well.
Like the kid can drive.
Oh, he can. Yeah.
And in a car with no extra lock.
Steering box.
Does it have a steering box?
Yeah, it's a steering box. It's just an SR20, like.
It's S15 front subframe and it's
got a BMW M3 gearbox, maybe.
I think ZF gearbox, and it's something different about the back of her. I
is it not an S13 rear end or something?
Could be, aye.
But yeah, she's basically, so that was cool. Watching all the other drifters in general was really cool. And then Sunday.
Oh, another thing about the Saturday.
To be honest, there's been that much happened since, just by even being away with work and all, that a lot of us went out of my head.
So on the Saturday as well, one thing I am thankful I did do was bring a cool box. Great purchase on Amazon, and
we had baguettes.
We had baguettes, and I had a lot of Copperberg.
We had baguettes.
And
it was great.
It turns out if you drink Copperberg all day, you don't get steaming.
Good enough. So so look, it was good. Concerned this isn't an LZ Fest podcast, but because it was a pretty big deal, we have to talk about it. So yeah, we were parked up with the rest of the guys in the stand. So Jack won an award, and Nick won an award, which glad to see. For the amount of work Jack's put into that car has been second to none. Unbelievable.
Next lights
are so cool.
Would give you a seizure if you look at them for too long. And
put a horn in a snowman too, like unreal. They were class. So yeah, out with the Limitless.
If only he could get like DJ Cammy playing through the speakers, and they could do like the
wee bouncy thing or something.
Yes,
that'd be cool. We're out just with the rest of the Limitless team on their stand, so it's nice to have kind of the gang all there as well.
Unfortunately, another thing on the Saturday, Patsy the Turbo didn't make it.
We forgot Patsy the Turbo.
And Michael went to Specsavers and bought A's for him.
I actually bought A's off. Hold on, right?
They're fucking. Where I actually don't know.
I actually went to go and look for the A's. So I was going to buy googly A's for Patsy, and I went and bought what Amazon described as a bag of googly A's, and I was like, happy days. They were literally, I am not joking, if they were 5 mil in diameter, they were tiny. I just looked at it, I was like, well, I'm not turning them into a spider with A's here. Like, so.
I was about to say, a spider's A's are bigger.
Aye, so I just looked at it, and I was just like, yeah, no, this ain't happening. So
Patsy can't see right now.
But
we should get a pair of sunglasses for him. Actually, I have a pair of sunglasses in the car.
So for those of you who are currently on Spotify, you'll not see, but we've just given our Turbo a pair of sunglasses.
Patsy doesn't want people to see his blindness.
Ouch. Yeah, I actually want to get up and see this. That's fucking hilarious. We're so...
Wait, does it work?
Why does it work? It actually works really well. We can keep them. They're patsies now.
They hurt my nose, so
really? They're patsies
they're
now.
Patsies now.
Good enough. So we don't even need to get good glaze for Patsy. Well, we might get good glaze for him anyway.
To be fair, nobody knew Patsy anyway before Sunday, so now they do know him.
Knew him last week, in the last podcast.
But I said we couldn't bring him till Zed.
Oh yeah, true.
But nobody knew about him until Sunday.
Yeah, true. So nobody was disappointed. Like
no, Patsy maybe coming to somewhere we go
soon.
Someday.
So, yeah.
I'll get called in to lead him out.
In the middle of it all, bumped into Larry Chen on the Sunday.
Yes. No.
That was pretty humbling.
Yeah. He likes your car.
He does. Don't know what he sees in it. But bumped into him. That was pretty cool. I'm still waiting for the Facebook post or the Instagram post that he said he was going to put up of it.
Like,
he's not going to hear this. I'm not going to slag him off, but
no, but like
he was getting pulled pillar to pillar, post to post. I didn't even recognise it was him until it was him, and then I was like, "Oh fuck, that is Larry Chen." He is beyond civil.
Oh, like, not that he wouldn't be, but if you know what I mean, if you're Larry Chen, you're not just going to talk to anybody. But
yeah, he did talk to anybody. He did. It was really nice of him. Do you know what? Conscious of time, and we still have plenty of shit to talk about. Just, I suppose, kind of one of the highlights of the weekend actually was the amount of people that, like, when we first pulled up, this lad just randomly came over and goes, "Oh lad, I listened to the podcast. It's class. Just and best of luck." Walked off, and I was like the amount of ones that like came up. Not that there was hundreds of thousands of people, but there was a few. There was a few people coming up and going, "Oh, I listened to your podcast," and I was like, thanks so much. Like Connor was like saying, like that lad Connor was like, "Oh, I wasn't sure like how you base like because you're here in life compared to the podcast," and I was like, "Lad, like the day that you feel you can't come up and talk to me is the day I quit doing all of this because like." That's just not what we're about. Like
now, if I can mind this correctly, like in the Sunday morning, naturally as a Honda owner, you're like, how much oil have I got left? So I was dipping the car for oil and put the bonnet up. I was dipping the car for oil, and you had a couple of fellas around you, and one of them came over to me and said, "Jeez, Connor, what's wrong with her?" And I was like, "Oh, just checking her for oil." And he was like, "Oh, wait, she got in there." I was like, "Oh no, what was said? Sorry."
She drank oil. She got it.
No, would she drink oil? And I was like, "She would if she got it."
Hashtag 2 Johnnies.
I fucked that up, but anyway, yeah.
But even like whenever I was driving, we were driving like out and heading towards like the Kerrygold roundabout, as I keep calling it, where the Apple Green is.
The Global Centre.
Yeah, there was these two lads like parked alongside the road, and as I drove by, one of them just shouted, going, "I listened to your podcast," and I was just like, "Cheers, lad! Thank you." No idea who it was, but like, fair play.
See if you see us anywhere. Do not be afraid to come over and say no.
I know I made a point there earlier in the podcast, and I'm kind of going to have to bring that around because as soon as I said it, I was like, "This is going to make me actually sound like a dick." I do like talking to people, and I will always chat to listeners, and chat to people in general. So, like, if I am cleaning my car and you do want to talk to me, I will talk to you. It's just. If I have to turn around and say, "Here, I need to get back and cleaning my car," it's because I do need to get back to cleaning my car.
No,
because I won't clean my car while just talking to you because I think that's so rude.
Well, it's not even that there. It's the fact that if you do want to talk to Michael and somebody's talking to Michael, you can go away and come back again. You don't have to wait for too long. Because Connor must have been waiting 20 minutes to talk to you.
I thought he was maybe looking to know about the car, and I said he was listening to the podcast, and I was like, "Holy fuck, Cub! I am sorry that you had to wait that long." Like it was really humbling because I was like I don't want to.
People enjoy listening to us talk shite.
Yeah,
doesn't feel real.
That's the bit I can't wrap my head around. Like I know we're making a podcast, and the whole idea of the podcast is entertainment.
Yes,
but like. At the same time, whenever someone actually comes up and says to you, "Oh, your entertaining podcast is very entertaining," it's like, really? It's kind of like, oh, so we're all right? It's look.
To be honest, we're there for the show and for the crack, and whenever somebody comes and does that, you're like,
oh yeah, we do that, yeah. It's a nice feeling. But anyway. Apart from what's new, have you done anything else?
So one thing I would like to mention in this past couple of weeks, I suppose, as everybody and every farmer in the country will be like, the weather has been just shocking.
Oh, fuck, it's so bad.
Cows are back in the house full time.
Can't get on the grass for silage.
The silage is normally done, so
Probably a week ago, but now.
a week ago,
Aye, maybe 2
fortnight
weeks
to
ago.
3 weeks ago.
Aye.
So the second gut's usually in around the middle of July.
Aye.
Can't even get near it. The cows, the last paddock they were in,
Just tore it to pieces.
oh, it's a fucking disaster.
Absolute shambles.
Um,
Not surprised.
Like, we've now, as of this morning, opened the pit to start feeding them first cut to try and keep the milk at them.
Aye.
It's just been, yeah, no, the weather has been a total disaster. Like, we're throwing the pull now at the weekend, and
That was the next thing I was going to bring up
like
as well.
the weather's just going to play havoc with it.
Today was good. If we could get, apparently tomorrow is to be the worst. If we could get a couple of nice days out of it, which I don't think is going to happen.
Like I've heard that the hills wouldn't be that bad, but I suppose the hills would be that hard that the water would just run off them onto the lowland.
Lowland, that's the problem. It's the lowland that gets all the grief.
Like I'm nearly the last farm before the water goes to the loch.
Aye, well, we're the same here with the ban.
So, but the weather's just been a total fucking disaster.
Complete disaster. On the pull. So, me and Connor, by the time you're listening to this, it'll be Sunday morning. On the pull will have happened, or any time after Sunday morning. Anyway, on the pull will have happened. As it stands, we haven't a clue, like, really what it's going to entail. We've been to the pit crew meeting. Me and Connor are doing...
It's lovely to be asked to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that was kind of like during the Farm Flex like thing, like the interview. We were kind of like, sure, if you need a hand, like, feel free. And then they were like, actually, do you want to help? And I was like, oh, okay, you're being serious, right? Cool. So, like, it's nice to be asked and seen as somewhat important enough that they've put us in charge of managing the drivers.
Aye,
that's going to be chaos.
Aye.
When you're listening to this on Sunday morning, this post probably won't have aged well.
No.
So,
But
looking forward to it.
so I think now we'll wrap up the what's new because we still have
one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I did, but I can't remember what it was now, and I know I'll kick myself when it comes in. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to put the whole sit in the 110.
Also,
TikTok is
another
spoken.
thing that maybe happened. So I went to JPCC,
you went to
JPCCNA show. Great show, lovely. Didn't get a chance to say much around it because I had a girlfriend to take shopping. So
It's kind of like the bargaining pool. Yes, we can go to the show, but only if we go shopping. And you were kind of like, yeah.
so I spent longer in Primark than I did at the show.
That's tragic.
That is tragic.
That is absolutely tragic. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap it up there,
Yeah.
and we'll go on to the main topic.
Yeah. So, Connor, what are we talking about this week?
So 40 minutes ago, we decided we would talk about what our dream garage would have in it.
So this one's not as topical as maybe some of the other podcasts. Like, we're not really basing this on an event or anything coming up. This is just literally sheer shit talkery.
Yes.
And a chance for us to maybe, like, at this point, I kind of think that the listeners probably do, and probably could hazard a guess at what our garages are at this point. So maybe there'll be a few surprises that, like, people will come up with. Or people go, fuck, I didn't think he'd like that, or, geez, that's surprising. So,
I think we'll start it off with, so, we have said it before in a previous podcast, but, so, if you were to, say, you had a decent amount of money whenever you were 18, what would your first car be in your garage if you...
don't get me wrong, I liked what I started in. If I was to do it again, I would have wanted a Bora from the get-go.
A Bora?
Yeah, I would have had a Bora from the get-go. The thing is, I couldn't actually get in a Bora insured when I first passed my test.
Insurance doesn't matter. Go, what would you love to have? So you would buy a Bora?
Raven blue bagged Bora with a caricature kit on a set of Alfords.
Nice.
Would be...
Caricature side skirts?
Yeah,
Okay.
with a hybrid turbo sitting about 240 horsepower.
Nice.
That is what if you could give me what would be my first dream car, that would have been it. Like, this is big talk coming from me because I started off in a 207 that ultimately ended up becoming, I don't want to say ultimately ended up becoming a show car, but that's kind of the route it went, daily driven show car. But like, the thing about having a car so new is you were scared to work on it. If I'd have started off with something older, I wouldn't have lost the money that I did, because things would have been like, and you would have worked on things yourself. I think.
Well, you don't put a hybrid turbo in a 207.
No, but like, that's the thing. Like, I think ultimately, if you did that to a Bora, it'd still be a money pit. But if I could go back and do it all again, or if I was like 17-year-old me, that's what it would have been. Caricature kit, Raven Blue Bora, bagged, hybrid turbo, Alfords. Not any split rims or anything like that. Just something nice, something kind of felty, full tints, subwoofer in the back. That would be that. What would be your first, if you were 17 now and you were given a sizable amount of money, what would you be going and buying?
One part of me would have wanted to just do the EP3 back then.
Aye, for Type R from the get-go.
Because Type R's back, well, Type R's, they were dear enough, but they were attainable.
Yeah.
And they were at a stage where it didn't matter a fuck about them, really. You know, they were like, there was enough of them at that time.
Yeah.
They weren't too rotten.
Yeah.
So obviously, just exactly what I've done to mine, of minus the Maxton kit, because they probably wouldn't exist. But say
in TRC theory, or something like that back then.
Otherwise, I nearly had the chance of having a Mark IV silver one, but then it unfortunately met a sad ending in the scrapyard. But if I was to go ideal now, probably Mark IV Golf.
Aye.
Grey.
You're kind of along the same lines as me, like.
You'd be hoping 130 hybrid turbo. Good set of coilovers on it.
Oh, you wouldn't have went bags?
No, I wouldn't have went bags. Not for Mark IV. See, it would be. I'd like, well, either caricature front or R32.
R32 for a Mark IV, I think.
Caricature, but with the chrome rub strips all round, and a grey, and a grey Mark IV. Obviously, a sunroof model. Spoiler on it with the wee hole for the aerial.
Yeah, you're getting very technical here, but
well, true, yes.
What wheels?
To be fair, Alfords are hard to beat. What else looks deadly in a Mark IV?
I had thought Long Beaches, but 17s are just a wee bit too small.
Now, I do understand that now, like, Long Beaches and Mark IVs are a thing, and they're getting more popular. But I do just think they're like too wee.
Yeah, they are. It's like kind of
19's nearly too big.
18s is the perfect size wheel for a Mark IV, Bora, Toledo, whatever.
Probably would either a set of Alfords or Land Rovers.
Yes.
And
so what are we talking? A grey Mark IV dropped on Land Rovers.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And if it was caricature front, I would have deep R32 side skirts with skirt extensions, and the rear would be. Probably go for an anniversary rear, not the R-line.
Oh, I'd 100% do an R-line if I had a Mark IV.
R-line I don't think would work with caricature. On a grey car, it's sort of wasted.
True.
But here, so that's the sort of first car thing.
I think on a previous podcast I actually had said red Mark V as well, didn't I?
I think you did.
There's that many of them, like, and I've said before 306 or Zara, like. That's what's coming to my head today, but it would be something that there's like 5 cars you would choose from, kind of like, for me anyway. There's like 5 cars you would like choose from at all times, and I'll default to one of them depending on the day.
So, Michael, you're on the cuff.
On the cuff, but I've written it down so I don't forget, because honestly, my on the cuff could change. Like when we talked about this originally, my list has changed since that.
Michael round off literally about 50 cars, which fair enough if he had millions of pounds.
Yeah, so before Connor, so Connor's jumped the gun here. Basically, we have said we're talking about dream car garages this week, and I suppose really a dream car garage, I could fill it with 50 cars. And there's 10 cars on this list, and I could have easily another 10 cars that's not on this list that would also be in my dream garage.
Oh, aye, surely.
So I've pulled together a list here, and asked as Connor about, I suppose, what we like and our reasoning behind them.
Yes, so
And-
without further ado, Michael, what is the first car on your on-the-cuff garage?
Well,
We're saying on-the-cuff because, like,
We're
realistically, we've this is just in 2 seconds we've put down 10
threw
cars.
down a few ideas. Right. I'm going to start this off kind of on a different angle. Like, we're both quite Japanese, tunery, felty kind of style boys, right?
Irish.
Yes, we're just Irish. Well, the first car I'd lay down is a Ferrari F50. Specifically, I think you can get it in a Le Mans edition,
Okay.
so it's even a bit more hardcore.
Yeah.
V12
Okay. Yes.
sounds like the fucking apocalypse.
Lovely.
I remember when I was younger, I used to just YouTube Ferrari F50 tubular exhaust. Didn't even know what a tubular exhaust was at the time. Still don't. No, just it was like a titanium exhaust.
Okay.
So it just sounded like the apocalypse. Is the Ferrari F40 nicer? Yeah, it is. But the sound of an F50 is just music to my eardrums, and I was like, I gotta have that. Like,
Okay.
I say I gotta have that as if I now own one. LOL. So yeah, what's first on your list?
Mine is a chaser. But so if I had a chaser, having sat in Benny McNaughton's on the way to a night out in Belfast,
Yes.
I'd probably have one. Now I know a lot of ones are going big break.
Yes.
I'd
right.
probably keep it around 350. So
Right.
quite standard.
So basically, standard
Standard enough. Standalone ECU for a
six-piece
wee.
manifold on a small turbo, nearly kind of thing. Yeah.
So around 350 horse. It would probably be. Is it Vertex Carrot with
Yeah.
Origin rear bumper?
Yeah.
I would have the spoiler in the boot.
Mm-hmm.
The roof spoiler, either in white or blue,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever the wheels that Benny had on his, because I personally just really like them. Can't mind what they are. Haven't a clue. Full
Can you
temps.
describe them for those on?
They kind of look like T37s with a polished lip, I think.
Yeah. They're probably. I think they may have been like a set of Kansas
Cosmos
or
or
something.
something
Cosmos, aye.
So I would go for that. You could daily drive it. You could.
You could. Yeah.
Keep all the standard seats
Mhm.
in it.
Mhm.
Just a nice, comfy bus and good coilovers. Second car.
I would go for an FG Ford Falcon. So Australian. 4-litre Barra engine, straight 6 turbo. And honestly, if I had the spare money, I would genuinely consider importing one of these, like as a daily driver. So something that's about 380 horsepower, pretty much with minor mods. It's basically Australian's answer to the Chaser. In fact, keep it reet. Have a Ford Falcon done up like a Chaser.
That was definitely yes.
So they have that, but I would have the FG, which is newer than that again. I would have that. I follow a couple of guys on Insta who have some real cool editions. So FG Falcon, just lowered lip kit, set of nice 19-inch wheels.
It was the Ford Falcon and the Holden Commodore was the two real main competitors back in the day with them, or maybe
Yeah.
still are.
Well, no, because Holden was done away with in 2021.
So Holden Commodore had the V8, VXR8 engine.
Yeah.
Essentially looked like a VXR8.
Well, it was the
didn't
Holden Monaro. The Commodore was like the saloon car version,
it? Oh, right, okay.
but it had the same engine.
So that's your second car then?
Yeah, Ford Falcon.
For me, I would have second car I wrote down as R34 GTR. Why am I being a spanner? And sorry, that's it. And Bayside Blue, Z Tune, basically Marty Arthur or Matip R34 or whatever it
Yeah.
is, in his car, basically.
Okay.
Yes. Just because that is like my ultimate wagon. I would have that over any Ferrari or anything. Just that is my ultimate dream car.
I'd also have a Skyline.
Okay.
R32 GTR.
Mm-hmm.
Just Jack McGarry's car.
Yes.
Like, so, bearing in mind, our friend Jack, friend of the podcast, has a grey R32 on a set of Rays.
Gram lights, yes.
Gram lights, yeah. He has them in bronze. I would have them silver. But the way his engine bay done up, he has an RB26 with V-cam, Borg Warner turbo. It's fully nut and bolt. At this point, the car is absolutely immaculate. I would have his car. Even he's talked in the past and threatened about changing the seats. I'd personally keep the standard R32 seats in it. He has the old school Daffy gauges up in the corner there. I would have all that. I would just have that car, but with silver wheels. So I would also have you got to have a Godzilla in your garage, like, definitely.
Yeah. Third car for me would be essentially S15 OTR, only an RB26, not an RB25.
Yes, it's a good choice.
So either blue or white S15, spec Arquette on it.
Yep.
Or else
Origin.
Yeah, or else
Origin
it'd be,
kits class on them.
To be honest with you, so essentially the kit that David Coleman has in his, but only I wouldn't have it black, probably white. Sort of like a road version of Kevin Quinn's.
Yes, yeah.
Drift car.
Yeah, so Strom DS 35s.
Yes.
Yeah.
White on white. Obviously just road legal. No caught up bit or anything. And again, probably wouldn't be mad about big power. Probably like 450, 500 would be more than enough.
We're quite different when it comes to this sort of stuff.
I just wouldn't have the driving ability to keep it between the hedges.
I would also love to have, again, and going way back up, sort of more out of reach again here, second gen Dodge Viper. But it's the GTSR, which I don't even know if that might have been a concept, so I would get that kit made for it. It just looks really beefy. It's insane. It's such a cool looking car. 8-liter V10. Yeah, like savage. So yeah, I know my dream car garage. There's a lot of people going, he likes that stuff. Yeah, I do.
I'm just laughing because my next car is fucking totally different.
But where do you see the rest of my list? Like it's a wild ride. Like it's a lot of ups and downs. So what's next for you? That's car number 4 we're on, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my fourth car would be a Mark IV Golf.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not saying it's just compared to a Viper, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So what I described earlier, grey, probably would go Carcateer, sorry, and the chrome rub strips all around. Basically, what I said earlier on, like of if I had could have first car. So that sitting around 200 and whatever brake, hybrid turbo and that, pop and bang map, all that crack.
Absolutely.
Your fifth car?
My fifth car would be, assuming we're allowed to keep our own cars, my fifth car would be just a Sapphire Cosworth 4x4 YB turbo engine. Because if my own car's sitting there, I would have my own car parked next to it, a complete bastardized, butchered, son of a whore kind of thing. Whereas I would like something like, so one of our listeners, Al Dillon, has a burgundy one on, I think it's OZs or maybe Combomotos. It's Combomotos actually, I think. He's in 18s, I would go 17s. But yeah, 4x4, decent spec, big brakes. I would go for something similar to that. So I'd have like my purist style car, and then I'd have my own car parked beside it, and the pair of them can just fight it out all the time.
Well, considering obviously we have our own cars, I would go with a twin cam.
Yeah,
that's my next one.
Yeah.
An 8411 white over black.
Right.
UK spec.
Yeah.
With CB aerial on the boot. On set of Revos. Lowered.
I just didn't put you down as having a CB aerial.
Why not? There's just something like
It's felty as fuck. Like.
It's one of those cars
so
that just
felty.
suits like
It's so
that
felty.
wee bit of.
Yeah,
I agree about it.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree.
And to be honest with you, they've got to that stage where if
What was that?
I don't actually know,
Sounded quick.
it did. I don't know. They're just one of those cars that, like, wait, if you're fucking 30, you can drive about in a CB rail. Nobody's really going to question it anymore.
No, this is true. This is true. I would also consider a Ruri Blue Evo 9.
I completely forgot about that too. But yes.
So did I when I was talking about when we talked about this the first time, in which the people of the podcast never hear. Evo 9s is one of my all-time favourite cars.
They are
in fact,
a
I
good-looking
said
car.
I would own an Evo, and if I didn't do what I did to the Sierra, I would have had an Evo.
Oh, you could have had an Evo and built the engine.
Yeah, I could have done.
And done many
I could have had
more
an
things.
S14 and an Evo together. Yeah, but at the prices they were back whenever that car was first getting built. Anyway, we're digressing. I would have a Ruri Blue Evo 9, full tints,
Yes.
absolutely, on a set of probably the same as what I have lying over there. Work T5Rs, the 5 spokes, but with concave, more concave. So 9.5 all around. Decked on a set of coilovers. Decatted. Probably would. I am a sucker for big horsepower. Would probably run the diesel block, so 4G64 block, 4G64 crank. Go for a 2.4 big turbo. Well, like a big-ish turbo to have good spool, and Evos are taking time bombs, so just drive it the odd occasion. But I love them. I just love Evos. They're so cool.
I can't believe. Yeah, I forgot. I forgot about them. Just like, oh yes. To be honest, we had to have a good old Phase 1 306D turbo as well.
Mm-hmm.
What colour would I go for? I like obviously the grey, like Owen's old car.
Mm-hmm.
Love them in red. But to be fair, I'd have to go Kingfisher green. 3-leg. Lowered 3 necks, side skirts, and I'd probably do a full nut and bolt so it just looked immaculate, because a lot of them over the time they kind of looked like they were through together, so just have it immaculate. Wee up sweat tip like Conor Kelly.
Yeah.
So that would be my next one.
So I now feel quite bad because I feel like I'm letting the listeners down here. Because my next car I would have would be a Dodge Charger. I love muscle cars. I absolutely adore muscle cars. Always have done. I just think V8, big, ignorant, loud and proud V8 power, like they're big fucking cubes.
Ironically,
cars.
I'm not the biggest fan of the V8 engine. So the sound waves, like
well, here, as someone who's only owned turbo cars, like that's a flex. LOL. I've had all my turbo cars have been diesels, and the Sierra. So it's not really much of a flex. Like, I love like even like
the AS300 isn't diesel or turboed.
No, I'm just saying like I've never had a V8.
Oh.
I've never had anything like that. But Calvin's car sounds absolutely class with the
I would
V8.
have totally went 1J instead of the V8 if I was him.
Oh, see, I would nearly be like, V8 turbo.
No, I would have won 1J any day of the week.
The V8, but the V8 was such a cheap engine swap at the time for him.
Okay,
He
no,
ended up making money on that engine swap. Like,
you can't be bad to that.
he was smart about it. Like, but like a Dodge Charger 440 Hemi engine, 1969, so the split grille. If we're talking dream cars, like it's got to be in there.
My next vehicle isn't really a car, so I would go. I would love a new Defender 90.
Yeah.
Paul-
One of the brand new ones.
Yeah, Paul Moore specs. So grey, black roof, spoiler, the wee LED lights at the top of it, 22-inch wheels, off-road looking tyres. I know they're like. It used to be that Amarok was like the businessman's Jeep.
Yeah,
Everybody was just
definitely
like, you know, anybody laughed at anybody like putting them to farm use because it was like, oh, you need the Hilux or a Ranger or something. Whereas now it seems like for a period of time when the Amarok was stopped being built, the V6 ones, because I think Amarok's like the second-hand market was flooded from the businessmen, then the farmers bought them because like it went from around my area, nobody really had any Jeep to.
Everybody was driving a V6 Amarok.
Well, 2 litre / V6 hip, including at home.
Yeah.
But now it seems that for a period of time, the short wheelbase Land Cruiser was like the businessman's Jeep kind of. It was like a cross. I'd
have one of them. I'd have one of them in a heartbeat.
But now the Defender is the go-to. Like if you're going for a bit of clay pigeon shooting, and you're getting the good old Le Show and you get the fancy wellies, and you're getting your gilet out, you'd be best seeing the new Defender. But no, I just think they're cool looking. Like, no,
they are, absolutely are. Number 8 on the list for me would be an Audi Quattro S1.
Yes,
with whatever work Darren McNamara has done to his, I want that in mine. But I would keep it, 4-wheel drive. If you couldn't get the original one, there used to be a company in England called Dylinks. They went bust in the first recession, and they used to make short wheelbase replicas with the 5-cylinder TTRS engine that came out at the time. And you were saying earlier off air that they make the guts of like 1,000 horsepower quite easily. Or is that the new 5-cylinder engines?
The TTRS 5-cylinder engine that's also found in the RS3.
Yeah.
Americans have got them to 1,000 brake fairly handy.
So I wouldn't want probably as much horsepower as that, but to be honest, like when you hear Darren's car, more than that later, and just in general how the old Group B cars sounded, I'd probably roll with the original engine because they sound absolutely class.
Keeping it Audi or Audi,
yes,
whatever way you want to pronounce it, I would next have an S3 Saloon.
Yeah, they're cool.
Set of 19s.
And I think they will hold their money, especially the S3s.
I said the S3, but to be fair, I'd be equally as happy with the diesel.
Yeah.
Probably actually in grey.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Grey, lowered in coilovers, maxed in kit. Set of 19s. I think 20's nearly too big looking on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, full tints and that. Mine are very simple and they probably are quite attainable. Like if I won the cool cash call, I probably could buy a few of these.
My next one, I'm finally coming back to the my roots here. Genuinely, I talk about it, we laugh about it, but that absolutely immaculate. It would have to be immaculate. 405 navy, big bumpers on the Escort Cosworth wheels.
John knows something. That would be quite the carriage if you walked in and there was like a
Ferrari F50 parked beside it, parked at 405, and everything else is just sitting out in the 405s in like a bubble. I think I just think they're class. Like, and there's like so many other ones that could have made the list there. But I keep coming back to them. Just like out of all like the sport of like old school keeping felt alive kind of cars I could have. I know I said about the Bora earlier and the 405, but the 405 just for the 1.9 XUD engine with a bit of work done to it. That's just class.
Keeping it with Audi or Audi
again.
Yeah,
red.
Ultimate Daily Driver, the newest RS6.
See, I wouldn't have put that in my dream car garage simply just because I've been like, oh yeah, Daily Driver.
See, the
Not
reason
that I could afford one.
to be fair, the reason I put I put that in is the new A6
Mm-hmm.
and the new Q7 share the same interior. I think are very similar,
Yes.
and like I don't know, as interiors go, I think they're unreal.
Oh yeah.
Like
they're
having
class.
sat in them, you know.
Yeah.
They're just a nice place to be.
Mhm.
You've every optional extra you could ever think of. Like trying to reverse my sister's Jeep out our entrance at home
Mm-hmm.
with a 3D camera, you know, the 360 camera.
Oh, why?
You just look at the fucking screen.
Yeah, you literally look at the screen. It tells you everything around you.
You know.
Yeah, had a rental car like that once. It just happened to have that, and I was like, A, how did I end up with this? And B, that is cool.
Oh, like parking sensors are a thing of the
Oh,
past.
yeah.
Like, you don't need them at all. Your next, your final
number
car,
10.
yes.
Chaser.
Oh,
A Chaser. But I would take a Chaser with a 2J. So I would take the Super Engine. I had actually been like, could I do one with an OM 606? But I love the JZ engine too much, so the 606 can sit on the shelf for a while. Reason being for a 2J, if you do it with a 2JZ NNA or NA head, they flow a lot better, and just build it up and then run the G block with like obviously the big pistons, and just have an engine that's literally sitting crazy horsepower. Like none of these cars realistically I'm probably ever going to drive for more than 5 seconds, because realistically they'll all break. They're mine. So yeah, look, number 10 is going to have to be a Chaser. Like,
well, to be fair, mine now would have to have it parked beside the D Turbo just to show the complete worldly difference in them. Because what garage would not be complete with a D Turbo sitting beside a Koenigsegg
as their class and Koenigsegg's in general are like, I think, like if
like you can't get any more fucked up or
I think that's class.
or different, like, you know,
That's class.
than a D Turbo parked beside a Koenigsegg.
I think because Koenigsegg's are trying to be so futuristic, and D-Turbo's just like, haha, D-Turbo roll cool.
You know what? The D Turbo would be in the bubble, not the Koenigsegg, because Koenigsegg can't rot.
It's Koenigsegg's are kind of like, so if you imagine like a Ferrari is like, I don't want to say like a, like, it's like kind of like a, not a Spice Boy kind of car, but it's kind of like a Playboy style car. Like they're just very, oh, I've got a Ferrari. I think Koenigsegg are like the nerds supercar.
I could listen to
Does that make sense?
the Koenigsegg owner all day long, like,
Christian,
oh, like he is, you know, and his son is a Jap man.
his son's Jap mad, yeah.
So maybe it wouldn't look too mad, you know. But I think like aye, or even John some the D Turbo, the Koenigsegg, and then the Mark IV Golf the other side of it.
Was there any cars that like nearly made the list but just about didn't? I have about 40, like.
Sorry, is there any cars? What you mean to say to me? Is there any cars you forgot about?
Well, like, I mean, the Bora 84 Blue Twin Cam, S15 with an RB26 in it, FD RX7, FC RX7.
Oh, FD RX7,
like,
yes.
I was like, I have to try and sort this list into 10, and like, I know I'm like, oh, I don't really, I've kind of said, oh, I don't really care for exotics and blah blah and all that there, but there are certain cars that, like, you know, people are like, oh, would you not maybe rather have like an S15 than a Charger? No, I would love an S15 alongside the Charger, but if I'm picking, I mean, I've thought that like the Charger was my wallpaper on my PSP, like, yeah, like I love them. And the same,
Mona Lisa was mine.
why?
The Mona Lisa.
Yeah, why?
You not get the Fast and Furious reference?
Oh, okay, yeah, fair
Get
enough.
with it, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. As regards then, so we pulled the last conversation just as we were about to get into this bit, so
Yeah, so had an idea. The reason being is because, sure, it's like anything. Whenever you go on to Facebook Marketplace, you could get into a frenzy. You could look at things you shouldn't look at and probably end up spending money you shouldn't.
yeah.
But, so the question is, Michael, you've got 10 grand. 10 grand doesn't buy you a scary amount these days.
No, it doesn't. Not really.
And you have to buy a car. And obviously, this 10 grand would include some modifications or light or whatever way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just something you can drive every day. And you'd be happy with it.
Probably something like a 2013 A6.
Okay.
Because that's going to cost you, what, about $8,500?
You'd be lucky to get one probably for that price.
Oh, mate. Okay, let's say I get one at a particularly good deal then.
High miles, say, right?
If it had to be higher mileage, then so be it. Like 140,000. Yeah, you get an A6 for $8,500, set of 20s, and just drop it in a set of FKs or something, and a Maxton kit. I think that would be, I think if you were going to go for a daily driver, realistically, like a 2-litre A6 with 140,000 miles is nothing if it's been looked after.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not driving, say it's your everyday car, but you're not doing 30,000 mile a year, that's pretty. If I was going to go for a nice daily driver, if you were to ask me, if I was to throw you a slight curveball and tell you what my ideal daily drivers would be, if you give me a little bit more money, I would. If you give me a wee bit more, say 17 or 18 grand, I would import a Ford Falcon.
So double,
yeah. I would import a Ford Falcon. What I talked about earlier, because they're right-hand drive. They're
you must like putting petrol in vehicles.
Well, if we've got the money, then yeah. But I would because that's something I would genuinely consider doing, like myself, if I ever was in the position where I could afford something better as a daily and had a bit more money to spend. I would genuinely consider something like that. Ultimate daily driver, as we mentioned earlier, Audi RS6.
Fair enough.
So yourself, 10 grand.
I'm saying this because I had a notion just yesterday. Went on to Facebook and it seemed like you could do a lot with them and 10 grand. So my everyday driver for work and that is a Mark 6 Golf.
Yes.
1.6 TDI. I would go for Mark 6 Golf GTD.
Would you even get one for 10 grand or similar to what I'm looking at, like high mileage?
You're talking one with like 100 Ks, about 6,000-7,000 at the very most.
What, really?
They're dirt cheap. Like, sure, a Mark 7 GTD with like 100,000 is 11 grand.
Really?
So
I thought they were still well up.
I'd say probably if you had one like with 50,000 miles, it'd probably be hard to buy. But so I would take the side skirt things off and put R20 side skirts on it. Probably just take my job out of the equation. Just you could probably just a set of 19-inch V-mans, rolly arches, coilovers, upgrade the radio to the one that I have in my car. I'm saying all this because
you've thought about this quite a lot.
Sort of, because like driving my own car, having drove a Civic for like driving the EP3. Whenever you do a 200 horse, it's a different ball game. Because I was going up hills outside Larne, and like second gear, she was struggling half the time. So obviously they're 170 or so, 2-litre engine. I don't know if they're a bad 2-litre engine or not, but
anything from like 2010 onwards, I think's dead on. 2-litre, anything 2 litres from 2008 onwards, as soon as they changed to the common rail, totally different. So the old PDs were questionable. Moving forward, the common rails are dead on.
But 3-door sunroof, full tents,
the works.
I know, and sure, like you probably could do a lot with them for 10 grand.
And what about an ideal? Or if maybe because I got nearly talked about 3. I suppose it's only fair. If you were given say 20 grand to play with, what would you go for as a daily? A3 saloon. Yeah, like I said in my garage thing. So grey, just 2-litre diesel or something. Essentially, 2-litre diesel. Good coilovers on it. Slamming a set of 19s. And then if it was like your ultimate daily,
You could say RS6, yes, but I'll not just copy you in that one.
No, you can, because it's absolutely true. There is no better daily than an Audi RS6.
Unless you've got an RSQ7.
I would rather the RS6.
True, yes, I can understand why you say that.
Unless the RSQ7 had a tow bar.
Then it is the ultimate daily.
The ultimate cattle towing wagon.
Fucking sures.
Need to be at Kilrain in 5 minutes.
Not even that there, but the stigma around dairy farmers will be like, huh, no wonder they're fit to do that.
Plenty of money. First they put in a parlour, and now they've got that. I do remember one day being at the cow market and seeing a fella towing like the shittiest cow trailer with a Range Rover. Like one of these old wooden box things nearly. And everybody else was like in like Land Cruisers and Hiluxes and Navaras and stuff like that, and like your general run-of-the-mill Nugent, Porter, Ifer Williams trailers. This boy had like this real nice modern grey Range Rover and like something he'd literally bought off Dundee for about £100. Which probably is right, to be fair.
Farmers are so ironic, aren't they? Like,
they are.
Like I was told an accurate representation of like most farmers.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a 3 or 4 year old child. Whenever you try and tell them not to do something, they take a wee tantrum.
That sounds about right, actually. Yeah.
I was like, that is actually one of the
that's true.
accurate representations. Yeah.
So moving on then, versus challenge.
Ah, fuck.
Welcome back to another episode where neither of us can have a fucking clue what we're going to ask the other. Well, based on your garage then.
Yeah.
Based on the cars that you would own.
Yes.
If you answered one or the other, I could see why you'd choose it.
Okay.
Would you rather have given to you today, would you rather have the Koenigsegg
Okay.
or the S15 Spec R with the RB25 engine built to the big spec that you want?
S15.
I thought you would say S15, but also if you'd have said, oh, the Koenigsegg, I'd have went, I mean, yeah, of course. But we are who we are.
Like, I've always sort of thought of this. Now, this is a random thought to have. Obviously, footballers nowadays are paid astronomical amounts of money.
Yeah, nearly as much as you get paid by the dart.
Ha 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 ha.
Tumbleweed. Anyway, you were saying?
I don't drive a Golf with like 185,000 miles on it for no reason.
It's just a cover-up.
Yes. Cover up for what?
Anyway, moving on.
I've forgotten my train of thought there.
You were saying random. So I'd said about the Koenigsegg, and then you'd went, "Oh yeah, quite randomly." And
yes, if I can remember. Yes, sorry. As I was saying about footballers.
Yes, that's what we were talking about. Yes, footballers.
Normally they
get paid astronomical amounts of money.
Yes, and normally they arrive to training probably because like between Audi, whatever way you want to say it. Like obviously Lamborghini and Porsche and all owned by them too.
Mm-hmm.
They're normally like given probably cars if they're sponsored and that. But I'd be like that footballer driving in an S15 or an R34 Skyline. Not a Bentley Continental GT or anything like that, but you know, Jap cars.
I don't know if any but I think are they nearly mutually exclusive to an extent. If you're like a real good footballer, you're probably not going to have time to get interested in Japanese cars. That's maybe a very, very generalised statement. Yeah. It's just for me, if you're a footballer, you're just thinking flash, bling.
Like, could you imagine Cristiano Ronaldo arriving in?
I'd have so much more respect for him.
A D-turbo.
If Messi don't... Messi just pulls in this golf ball popcorn limit.
I would then be like, goat.
I mean, I thought you were alright. Like, you done okay, but now you're driving the Golf, Messi, I have to say. Fair play, man.
Marfell Sky Blues got nothing on you.
You've done well in my book. Like,
oh my god! Oh, here. The funniest thing ever would be Marfell Sky Blues is Marfell's football team.
Yeah,
you know, like. So imagine Sainz Cristiano Ronaldo drives in the D-turbo.
Ah, fuck. Hey, there's probably more chance of that happening in me owning any of the cars in my dream garage right enough. But
Jaggers, that's a better chance of winning the lottery then.
Aye. Pretty much. Tell us what's my question?
Again, sort of. Right. So, Michael, you've decided to farm more.
Right. Okay.
And you're given the choice of 2 Jeeps.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, short wheelbase Land Cruiser or the 90 Defender.
See, up until maybe about 4 weeks ago, I'd have said the Land Cruiser all day long.
What happened 4 weeks ago?
The 90s have just started growing on me. The more I see them, I've seen a lot of them in England, and I was like, I actually quite like them. And then as time went on, I was like, I actually think they're really cool. And I was like, you know what, they're class. And with a bit of Michael Scullen touches, you could make...
What would be Michael Scullen touches?
I would just go for like a set of like kind of aggressive wheels.
If you see their interior, it's unreal.
Aye, but like, to be honest, like a Land Cruiser's not probably that much less expensive these days.
Well, here's one for you. New Amarok. The Ford Ranger Amarok.
Mm-hmm.
How much for the equivalent spec to a Highline Amarok of before? Now, Highline Amarok of before...
It was about 42,000, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much for a new one.
Probably 60 nearly.
Yeah, 57,000 starting.
And I would say the other one was probably a better buy.
Well, the new V6 diesel in the new Amarok is Ford's V6 diesel.
See, I'm so twisted because I both love and hate Ford at the same time.
So, like, they're both made obviously at the same factory and that.
Yeah.
And they've more or less got the same interior.
Yeah.
And Volkswagen is even using Ford's like system for like their radio and that. You know.
To me, it just seems.
I watched the Car Wow video on it.
To me, it
That's
just seems like a VW with a Ford engine just seems like such a shitty idea. But if you said a Ford with a VW engine, I'd be like, that's a really good idea.
Here's one for you. Sorry, a bonus versus.
Right. Okay.
Would you take the new shape Caddy or the new shape Transit Connect?
New shape Transit Connect.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen JB Tyre's new Caddy?
I just don't like the new Caddies.
I would have said Transit Connect until I seen JB's one, and it is a nice looking bus.
Oh, they're cool, no doubt about it. But I just doesn't do it for me.
Fair enough.
So, move on to big old skids and one wheel pills.
Yes.
Have you got many?
So, off the top of my head,
I have considerable.
Yes. So, first big old skid would be James Dean's 4-rotor RX-7.
I also had that in here.
Fucking unreal.
I had that on here too, yeah.
Another big old skid was just LZ Tour Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Was class.
Mm-hmm.
It was brilliant. I know it's like one of those things where your first year of it's very good, and then you're hoping that the second year will be as good.
Yeah.
Now, what the difference between was I got older and obviously had to do year older, and it would appear that my body clock just can't stay awake. Because whenever we were at the after party after about 12:30, I just needed my bed.
But we were on the go. We'd been flat out all week.
It was a hectic week.
We'd had a long day. It was a hectic day, and we were just like, I mentally we were just
drained.
We were just like,
probably the other big old skid would be again Auto Finesse's Datsun.
Yeah,
thought it for the fella at the age of 16, Archie, to be able to handle that car
the way he did,
it was unbelievable.
Unreal.
You know,
unreal. That was class.
That is fucking driving. And then you tear away what your...
So to be honest, Connor, I've kind of ended up mixing my big old skids in with some mentions.
Work away, yeah.
Because of the way I'm doing it and the way people have got in touch. But it's about cool things. So, first one was Hugh Barr. So, we'll know when Hugh's listening on Sunday, he'll either be talking to us going, yeah, done a great job, or going, shit. So, I was talking to Hugh. Hugh's been like my kind of go-to guy at the minute regarding Turbo and the Fate, because he's a bit of a tractor encyclopedia. So he's building a Dutz for on the pull, and he's trying to get his pump and all set at the minute, and he's building the engine. So it'll be good to get chatting to him. Have you ever met Hugh? He's like 6'8".
Very briefly, he jumped out of a 306D turbo.
Yeah, I'm surprised he fits in it. Like,
and that was he talked to Michael, and I looked over and went.
Well, he looked over and then looked up.
Well, yes.
Like, whoa!
Yes, my eyes did I got out a right angle. Or 90. Yeah.
So Retro Garage, I was in the video for it.
You got interviewed quite a lot, yeah.
Yeah, but he actually was a really nice guy. So Retro Garage, because I remember driving down, I was like, I think Retro Garage will be here this weekend. I'd like to get talking to him. Because he was on my list of people who I would like to potentially interview.
Yeah. And
I seen his car was in front of you when we were driving in, and I was like, oh, right, cool. I might try and see if I can get a chance. And then he was like round my car, and I was like, I'm going to talk to you about you. So might hopefully do something with Retro Garage in the future, so that'll be pretty neat.
Because we were like, Mike was doing an interview, and we were like, fuck. Get out of the road.
Reese, I know we've already sort of spoke about him originally, but yeah, like Reese deserves another honorary mention for just being good old crack.
He's a lovely fellow. Like,
he's a nice lad. He's welcome back anytime. Like,
oh, totally, yes.
So, also, again, I mentioned him earlier, Connor buying the sticker.
I know he stood for a brave while, didn't he? Like,
so appreciate that too. Like, getting chatting to Josh Holdsworth only took like 2 years of me being like at events going, I wonder if Josh is here, and then finally getting chatting to him. He didn't understand a word I said.
Nor did I.
He just, anytime I said something, he just looked at me and just went, what? And I was like,
he was like, yeah.
And I was like, there's not a thought between those eyes, Chief. Not calling him brain dead, it's just I didn't realise how hard I was to understand.
I didn't take the brain dead thing, but you just came out with it, so okay.
And that S1 of Darren McNamara's, I've already mentioned it a couple of times in this podcast, given how we've been talking about Quattros, but holy fuck, what a car.
Oh, here.
That thing is savage.
You know what else is actually unreal? His E30.
It's really cool.
It's really...
And the E86 that he built for Sultan.
Again, forgot about it until...
And the C6, or the F6.
Yes. I still don't really like the way they cut the front arches.
I love that.
But
I love that.
It's different.
I think it's class. Do you remember the Mavic Pajero that was sitting like opposite me and you at LZ Fest? Unbelievable.
Yes.
That thing was class. So I'm pretty sure they have like an Evo engine in them.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal.
They're like a...
That's ultimate cattle towing wagon.
Unreal.
That's the type of thing you'd literally take out, right? We're going to have to chase after the cattle. No bother! Out over the fields as fast as you can go, sideways around them. It's like, go on, you come on, drifting around the cattle, just trying to...
The best man to pilot that car. Cheap.
Evenflow?
Yes.
Go
on, you bastard, you.
Larry Chen gets another mention, even though he's never going to hear this.
He is fucking sound.
He's really nice.
He is actually
really
seriously fucking sound.
And Dave as well. Dave,
yes. Dave, are you busy? No. Just going to have a smoke. All right, cheers. Right.
He was chatting away to us for a while. And Dave, I think Dave genuinely would have chatted to us for a bit longer.
Only
other people came up and wanted to get photographs with him and stuff. So, and I mean, it's Dave. So
honestly,
it's fair enough.
fair fucks to him. Like,
I don't know
fair
how he
fucks
does it.
to the rest of the Drift Games.
I was saying this like after talking to ones like and having cleaned the car, I was like, my social battery's gone here. Like, I need to like just go. Like, Dave would have been entertaining people all day long, unless maybe sitting up in the commentary box tower for a while. Maybe, I don't want to say it gets boring, it wouldn't have, but maybe that's his getting away from everything. But then the energy he needs to do that, to then go out and put on a face,
it's unreal. Like, he must be in a booster pack all day.
It has to be,
or else he just charging himself.
He has to just. But I remember chatting to him last year at Old School New School, and I had said, like, you know, what way do you work? And he says, look, I would take like time off during the week. He goes, I know how to take my breaks. And I was like, right, well, fair enough. Like, at least you're not killing yourself. But I would say between then and now in the last year, they basically doubled in subscribers in the last year. They've built the Drift Games headquarters. They've ran 2 LZ Fests now. Drift Masters is probably peak. So, they've been doing a lot. So, fair play to them. Honourable mention was Kevin Quinn. When they were interviewing him, I don't think Adam Avell knew a word he was saying, to be honest, but obviously we could understand. And it's just like, they're like, how you getting on? He's like, I'm just out to lemmy bash this thing and just drive the shit out of it or something like that there.
I'm just having the crack.
And going to lemmy bash the shit out of this thing or something like this. And
she just won't blow up.
And then Adam Avell was like, I think he said crack. But I was sitting there going, yes. But it was just because he was like, I just love limiter bashing. And I was just like, yes you do, Kevin. Yes you do, because every time you know, like,
he was an old faithful too, and it has unreal limiter.
Oh, unbelievable. So he just comes in and you just hear everybody else is like coming in and going like, handbrake, bomb, kind of like judging feathering throttle whenever it needs to be feathered. Kevin just like, I think he only uses his left. I think he only uses the brake and the clutch.
He's in Car X.
His throttle pedal, I think, is just held in place with a brick. Like,
you swear his what happened to twin cam at King of the Cone with the throttle cable? Was it?
Yeah, throttle cable disconnected.
Yeah,
and just went to full.
I think his throttle cable is just disconnected. And he just clutches and brakes,
or it's just been mapped to just be read 100%. Throttle full open at all times. So the car's just constantly.
And the limiter is unreal.
It's so hard cut, like, it's unbelievable. It's it's showmanship like that kind of. I think when those guys started going to Drift Masters, we kind of lost a bit of that from like the ADC, like that bunkersness. Yes,
well here, Bagsy's chase on Kevin.
Bagsy's driving
was unreal.
Bagsy's driving all weekend was unbelievable.
And Bagsy's another fella that
Bagsy's lovely.
Oh,
Bagsy's actually a really nice guy.
Are you going to take the Navara out? No,
not this year. I think it's banned. Jimmy Oakes as well.
Jimmy Oakes
got a photo of him and Spoon. I wish I'd done more research on Spoon, because Spoon actually seemed like he was more up for a chat at the time. Jimmy seemed pretty wrecked. Spoon was like, hey man, how's it going and all. And it was only after they were like, oh, that's Spoon, that's the guy that does the fabricating. And I was like, fuck. Like, I should have known. So now I'll do a bit, like, because he seemed genuinely like a really cool dude.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the kind of guy you'd actually want to sit and chill out with.
To be honest, see, at the very end of the Sunday at Mandela,
when Jimmy came out to everybody,
whenever any of them came out, like, they just came over, and it was nearly like a bonus if whenever you did stay on and you were.
But I think I'll always stay on, because it means I drive out the road so painless. Fuck sitting in traffic.
For last year I sat in traffic for 2 hours just to try and get out of the field.
No, it's fuck that. Like, yeah, but you got into the show this year, so
yeah,
bonus points.
I applied.
Did you not apply last year?
No. Didn't bother my backside, but then it was so handy because I just like my boot on the Saturday was just a bar. And the amount of times I locked and unlocked that car was
bar and food.
Bar and food.
Here's your baguettes. It was,
here, big ups to Gemma for making the food. Like, and she went to. So while we were here on the Friday, she went to Lidl herself, got all the groceries for it, made it that night while I was milking the cows and that. So big ups to Gemma for doing the food.
Fair play to Gemma. Fair play to Gemma is correct. Mine's blanking me. I'm sure Becca done something to help as well. Probably just moral support.
Oh, here, Becca provided the crack.
Becca was going to sit with Gemma on the way down the road, and I was like, actually no, I think I'm just going to sit with Michael. And she's like, I think I'll just sit with him.
Tell you one thing, Gemma, whenever she give a walkie-talkie, doesn't ever fucking use it.
I was thinking she'd be shouting down it,
because I said she likely is listening to us, but she's playing probably Coldplay or something and just going like singing along with it. And then halfway down I was like, yeah, I'm not listening to any of it.
When we come down the road, like, we were all chatting, and then Stevie just come on the walkie-talkie. Are you pair recording a podcast? Because it sure fucking sounds like it. To which I'm back. I just went like, The drift run. Look, I'm not going to sit and go, oh, it could have been so much better, because I couldn't do it. But the S1 versus the F6. So whenever Adam LZ stole Dave's Corvette, and then he went out on a run with you knew, because they're two pretty fucking expensive cars, they did kind of drift them a bit further apart.
I would say.
But after I think the run that they did actually would have been quite decent even for pro level competition. But because what we were seeing both at Drift Masters and the LZ World Tour, because the level and the bar is so high now, like a run like that where they were sort of following each other, it doesn't really seem spectacular anymore. But the cars made it.
Just a side note, did you watch Drift Masters at the weekend?
Yeah.
Jack Shanahan's chase on Knick Knack.
Unbelievable.
Unfucking real.
Jack's the boy.
So you're wearing his t-shirt,
No,
but
yeah.
unfortunately Dwayne's gearbox suffered failure because Laurie Heinen might as well just bash him out of the fucking road.
I'm a wee bit of a fan favourite of Laurie Heinen too, though.
I love his engine sound.
Jesus, it's class.
But well, at least it means that the top 5 drivers. This is one thing I have to say about Drift Masters of the year, because the way the things have went, top 5 drivers still have all quite a good equal chance of winning it still.
Yeah, they do.
And it'll be interesting the next round all the same.
It's just interesting that Peter Wojcik qualified first,
and then got put out in the top 32.
And then got put out top 32.
Peter seems like the sort of driver who's all or fucked.
I think he'd be a really cool guy just to hang about with.
Oh, like you'd love to go for pints with him.
I think Peter Wojcik would just be a really sure. Is it like what they did the Twingo?
The Swingo,
and he was just like, "This is my Swingo." It was just he just seems like quite a funny guy,
and he's actually quite. He's a bit older than us.
Aye, well, yeah.
They doesn't look like it.
No, I'd have said he was about 40, like.
No, I wouldn't have said he looked that age, like.
Podrick Leonard, listener to the podcast, asked me to ask you a question.
What's the question?
What's the colour of Mr. Bean's car?
Like a creamy, greeny sort of colour?
So you think green as well? Right, so he then sent me, you know in Snapchat now you get them music notes?
Okay, yeah.
Which is
I don't even know how to use them, but okay, yeah.
Really?
Have you seen me using Snapchat much?
Oh, well, fair enough.
I literally said you send me a Snapchat every morning of you driving to work, and I just reply with the parlour.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It's, he actually has one of his two mates having an argument over whether it's green or yellow. And one was like, "It's fucking green, Lord boy. It's fucking yellow." And he's like, "I'm telling you, it's fucking green." I think it's green. Podrick thinks it's green. Other boys adamant it's yellow. I thought it was like an olive green.
Like a creamy green.
I
know that's what I think.
Right, we're green as well. Okay, no, that's fine. As soon as Mark Willis bagged the chaser, he sent me quite a few photos of it, and I was like, I'll put it in the pod. So
tidy, like.
It's tidy, it's cool. Like, I think now he's going to start going for more power.
I was about to say, like, where else can you go with that car? Probably a lot.
Yeah,
but
more power. But to be honest, even the way it sits, the stance on it now with the bags and all and the kit and everything looks class. I don't think the car is lacking in power wise anyway at the minute. But I think he wants to go decent power.
Well, it's mad. Like, most people haven't really sat in a 350 brake car. To know what a 350 brake car is like.
This is true. This is kind of like, yeah. It's very easy to be like, I want 500 horsepower, and it's like, you try to drive something with that amount of horsepower, and you're like, I don't want 500 horsepower. I was happy at 200.
Like, whenever you sit in the 600-700 horsepower cars.
Terrifying.
It is.
It's terrifying. Like, either Crest car, Jack's car. Like, I'm not 600. I'm 4-ish.
Even 4 and lightweight.
Yeah.
It's not much difference. And shit tyres.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I probably will run.
One mod you should do is like put a set like Uni Royal Rain Sport 5s or something on.
I would like, or a set of Pilot Sports or something.
Uni Royals probably be cheaper and they're good and all well.
Or like Goodyears or something like that, or
Eagle
Pirellis.
F1s
Aye.
or Pirelli P0s.
Yeah.
Ironically, I had Pirelli P0s in the Polo.
Yeah, because you got them quite cheap. That was my actual next plan. That and sort out the brakes.
Your brakes poor again?
The pads are just shite. I might splash out on maybe I say EBCs or something like that and get something a bit better. Just it's cheaper to buy brakes than it is to fix the front end of the car.
Fair enough.
So I think I'll splash out, and because I can get brake, like I can get Mintex for like 40 quid.
Fair enough.
But I think I'll spend the extra and go for something a bit better.
Is there any more big house skids, or have you any one wheel pills you want to say?
Oh, I have 3 more big house skids.
Jesus Christ!
I seen a combine destruction derby the other day.
What?
Yeah, these are a thing in America. Destruction derbies using combines.
I think I have seen. I wouldn't really watch it, but okay.
Savage. Donkey262 following us on TikTok.
Aye,
Maybe give him a grill on Sunday or Saturday and on the poll.
we should indeed.
We should. We'll probably get feared, but anyway.
He'd just be like, "Yes, Sally, looking hers."
And in general, Farm Flex on the poll.
Oh yeah.
My one wheel pill is actually a post Vicky put up. We talk about it all the time, and it's something that scares me as well at car shows. Is people touching your car?
Well, I thought about this earlier on, right? And maybe this is the wrong way to think about it, and maybe people will think my head's cut. But hear me out. So, if Vicky was to turn round, right? So, say, I know a wee or whatever was doing what was doing to her car, and she went over and she was like, say tapping the wheel along, like to go on ahead over his mother. Naturally, the mother turned around and eat the face of her. What are you doing? What are you doing? My wheel, all right. Vicky probably loves her S2000 as much as that mother loves her Wayne, realistically.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, it's obviously not condoning any of that, but...
you're gonna get defensive if you tell a Wayne off.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, why should Vicky have to put up with that and the mother just, get along? Naturally, you're near something that, Vicky isn't a millionaire.
No.
So
this was my next
blood,
thought.
sweat, and tears put into that car.
Because I remember watching a wee car just do a wee boy do boom like that. For anyone on Spotify listening, I've literally just taken my 2 hands and pretty much dropped on the table, like fell flat on Calvin's bonnet at a show once as well. And Calvin was just like, "Oi!" But the parents just did nothing. To me, that's the equivalent. I think if you were to turn around and say to a parent, look, they could dump my car, and they'll go, "Oh, it's only a small scratch." I think that's literally what you would do, is you'd take a bit of dirt from underneath your car, put it on their t-shirt or their coat, and they go, "You got dirt on me," and you go, "I'll clean out. It's fine." That's very, very aggressive, and they'd maybe claim you done assault, but that's what it would be. If they're "Oh, it's only a small scratch, it's fine," and you took a bit of oil. If it was my car, took a bit of oil off the sump and just wiped it on their t-shirt and went, "Right, there you go." And they got annoyed about you wiping the oil on their t-shirt, you go, "My shirt's only a t-shirt."
Well, you're not fit to respect my belongings. Why should I respect your belongings?
I think that's the equivalent of what you should be allowed to do to someone if they touch your car. Just go.
And their t-shirt could be £3 out of Primark. Calvin's bonnet probably cost £100 to spray paint it.
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
easily. So, parents, if you can't train your kids to not touch cars, don't fucking go to shows. Simple as that.
My one wheel pill has just been, in general, the weather.
Fucking horrible.
It's been a disaster.
So bad.
I'm not looking forward to seeing how we're going to get the silage out of the fields. It's not going to be good quality.
No.
The milk's going to be down in the winter time.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to feed my second cut first.
It's literally turning into another 2017.
Yeah. Is that the year where
2017 we mowed silage on the 1st of November. Now,
sure,
I think we probably learned from then.
Don't do that. That's the type of stuff you need to be feeding to the cows the second you bring it in.
We fed a bit of it to dry stock.
Aye.
But
just had to dump it.
It was pretty much had to just lose the half of it.
Mm-hmm. It's the type of thing you nearly, if you made bales, it might be a bit better.
Not necessarily, no. not with that sort of stuff.
I'm definitely going to feed my second cut first time. I'll put it in front of the first cut and feed the second cut first, just to get it out of the way, and just have to bulk up a meal, because by the tail end of the year, after the second cut bales, you'll be into the good first cut stuff. You'll be giving them meal anyway to kind of bulk them on. So I think that's us, unless you've anything else.
I don't, guys. If you made it through this far, I don't know how long this podcast is going to be, but it's probably going to be fairly long enough.
It's looking like at the minute with all the editing and all,
An hour and a half or something.
About an hour 40. We've been talking for well over 2.5 hours, but we've had to cut loads out.
Yeah. No, in fairness, like, from anybody that is now still listening from the LZ World Tour, and you come up and spoke to us, like,
or even just shouted out at us, I listened to your podcast. It's fucking class.
It is class, yes.
It's deadly hearing it.
If we look surprised or anything whenever you do come up to us, or we're like,
it's because we are.
Yes.
It's because we genuinely are.
Yes. I know it is just class, like. So. But thanks very much for listening.
You are on socials, Connor?
Connor.Magoo.
On everything?
I think pretty much on everything now.
I am Michael Scullen _ on everything.
Pretty much everything.
Bar Snapchat, which is mscullen, but I don't know why you bother adding me in that. Follow the podcast on Limited Slip Differences on everything.
Yeah.
So this will be out Sunday the 6th.
Yes.
And yeah.
Hopefully you've enjoyed it. All the best, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See you later. Best
all the
of
best,
luck.
guys.